Well, now that we have the three stacked walls, the exterior wall of the house, the wall between the house and the garage, and then the exterior wall of the garage, now it's time to create a little bubble diagram. A bubble diagram is just the way that you want your rooms to relate to each other. There's no scale, and it's just a relationship. You know, I definitely think that I want the garage to be close to the kitchen, and I want the family room to be off of the kitchen, and the breakfast would be off of the kitchen as well. And I have a butler's pantry, which you'll be able to walk through to get to the dining room, and then just a walk-in pantry where you store all of your foodstuffs that don't need refrigeration. Then off of the garage, I would like to have a back hall lav, and then off of that, I would like to have a laundry as well, back in the what I would call the service area, so to speak. Then we have an office, which would be off of the foyer, and a dining room, which would be off of the great room as well, and then the stairs. And what I was thinking in this concept here is that there would be a long hallway with the family room at one axis, one end of the axis, and then the stairs at the other end. And I thought that might look kind of cool. So that's basically what we would do for a bubble diagram. It doesn't mean that this is exactly how you have to lay out your house, but it's a good start to think about how the different rooms would relate to each other. And so let's see here. Just going to close down everything else so that I just have this floor plan or this bubble diagram. And then I'm going to grab a section through the stacked walls that have been created so far. And then I will go to that, right click and say go to view. And I'm not seeing the detail here. And the reason is that it's a coarse resolution instead of fine. And now I can see the, I've got my garage wall. I've got the wall between the house and the garage. And then I have the exterior wall on the outside of the house itself. So let's type WT, and that's going to toggle. It's going to give me both windows that are open. And I like to start, there's really no correct place to start, but I generally like to start at the garage. So if we click on that, you can see that this, I've highlighted the garage wall in the section view here, but it also highlights it here on the floor plan. So I'm going to copy that because it's already set to the constraints, you know, that I want it to be. And then let's zoom in here and take a look. Okay, so the brick is on the outside, and I'll just move it over here a little bit, maybe a little bit lower. And then let's see, I can copy that wall because I've already made it correctly. It's the right height and it's the right pieces, and then I can rotate it. So let's rotate it 90 degrees, double checking to make sure that the brick is on the outside because that's where I want it to be. And I just drag this over here, and then I'll use this mirror command. So basically I've just drawn an imaginary axis which the walls are mirrored about. So I have the brick on the outside here, brick on the outside here, brick on the outside here, and then I'll come up to my modify tab and go over here. I still call it fillet from my AutoCAD days, but Revit calls it extend trim. It does the same thing. If you click on these walls, it connects them up, cleans them up. It's really nice. Oh, look at this. You can see that I have the brick on the inside now. So I'll just click on that wall, hit the space bar, and that'll flip it. So now it's flipped over in the right way. So there's the beginning of my garage. I can put a dimension in there. And let's grab a dimension. I want to dimension from wall faces, so I'm changing the constraints here. I don't want it to go to the center line. And this is my pretty big garage, 45 feet. A typical garage is probably about 20 feet deep. So I'll make it a little extra. I'll click on the wall that I want Revit to move. And I can't click on this dimension now to change it because this is a stacked wall and we have to activate dimensions for stacked wall. But now I can click on it and I'll just say 22. So now my space inside the garage is 22 feet. And I can start, again, I'm going to mirror. See, I use this mirror command and I'll just draw an imaginary line that it'll mirror about. And then I'll put another dimension in here, wall face to wall face, inside to inside. Whoops, let's do it again. So I hit the escape key a couple times because I don't know what was going on there. It wasn't letting me dimension it again. So that's 42 feet's pretty big. I want a 3-car garage, but say 32 feet is probably a good dimension. 20 by 30 would be probably the minimum that you would want a 3-car garage, but I'll make it a couple extra feet, so I'll make it 32. Again, because it's a stacked wall, I've selected the wall that I want Revit to move when I change this dimension, but it's an I still have to activate the dimensions because it's a stacked wall. So I'll just type 32, and there's the beginning of my house. There's my garage, okay? So I've got this one room laid out, and now what's next? So I can take a look at my bubble diagram and say, okay, well, maybe the family room, 22 feet might be a good dimension for the family room. But now it's going to be an exterior wall, not an interior wall. So I'll zoom out a little bit here, click on my exterior house wall, which is right there, and copy it, because again, it's to the correct constraints. So I'm going to click on this wall. Whoops. I just want to click on the wall and highlight it. I can see it's right there. I'm going to say copy, and it, all right, then I'll click on it here because now I know that's it. And I'll copy that wall right there. All right, so now I have my, let's see which side the brick is on. I always want to double check that. All right, I'm going to rotate this. First of all, rotate it 90 degrees. So there we go, 90 degrees, unjoin the elements, that's fine. And so now I can click on that and say, okay, the wall is going to be up there someplace. And I know I'm going to, it's telling me that the walls overlap, which is a nice feature. It's telling me, hey, you got 2 walls in the same space. This, I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. And I'll just drag it back up here. Use my fillet or extend trim command and say that that's all right. And the question is how deep I want it to be. And let's grab these 2 guys and just highlight them like that. And I'm just going to move it back to there. Now maybe I want to move it a little bit more. So maybe we'll have a little offset there. I'm not going to be too concerned about it, but let's see. Whoops, see, look, it didn't pick the correct face of that wall there. So I want this guy and this guy. And let's just make that 2 feet. Again, it's a stacked wall, so I have to activate the dimension and just change it that way. All right, now I can drag this guy back. Now, notice that this is an outside wall of the garage, but now I have to have a wall. This wall, remember we had this wall that's between the house and the garage is going to have to be, so I can copy that. I can select this guy and copy it. Let's take a look at which side. Okay, so it's backwards, so I hit the space bar because I know that all of the insulation and plywood sheathing and gypsum boards on that side. And so now let's use this tool, which is the align tool. And I'm going to click on what I want to align to, because that's my gypsum board. And I want the gypsum board of this wall to align as well. And now I can use the trim extend. Let's see what happens if we do that. There we go. Now that wall is not going to go into the house. So I'll just drag it back a little bit farther right there. Okay. We can always come back and clean things up later. Don't necessarily be too concerned about it right now. So there's my family room. It definitely might change in dimensions. Don't really know right now. It's still the beginning. But this guy, I can copy him now because it's the bricks in the right orientation, and then I'll just drag it over here like that. So now there's another wall that needs to be made, and that's the 2x4 stud wall. We haven't made that yet because we're going to have inside walls as well. So let's go, let's deselect this guy, just hit escape, or you can, I often just click this modify tab that clears out anything. And I'm going to go architecture, wall, and now we have to make a new wall. So let's see what we have to choose from here that's already made. Let's see here. Here we go. There's an interior partition. We'll take that, we'll edit the type, we'll duplicate it, and we'll just call it well, it can be an interior still, but we're going to change it to 2x4. So that's the structure of that wall is 2x4. And then let's take a look at what we actually have here. All right. So we've got some 5/8 gypsum board on both sides, and I'm not going to use a metal stud. I want to use a wood stud. So I'll change that to softwood lumber. Let's see what happens here. Softwood lumber looks good. And then I'm going to change a 2x4 is really 3.5 inches. So I'll just type 3.5. And now I have that wall is 4 3/4 inches thick. It's got 5/8 gypsum board on both sides and 3.5 inch stud in the middle. I say okay to that. And I'll say okay to that. Now let's pay attention to the constraints now. I want the base constraint to be first floor, first FL, and I want the top constraint to be the top of the first floor wall. Let's see if we can find that now. Top of first floor wall is right there. Okay, so now I'll just draw that guy in there. And there's my wall, which now the question is, let's see. Okay, yeah, that's fine. For now, we'll just leave it like that. What's happening here is my view range. Let's go back to the first floor and change the resolution to find. Now I can see all the details on that. The other drawing, I was not cutting through this wall, so I couldn't see the detail on it. So now the question is, what distance do I want between the brick's on the wrong side too. So I'll click here, hit the space bar. Now the brick's on the outside, and I'll put a dimension in here from this face to this face. And let's think about what do I want for my kitchen. I have a 2-foot counter, then a 5-foot walkway, so that's 7 feet. Then I want a 4-foot island, so that's 11 feet. Then I want another 5-foot walkway, so that's 16 feet. And then another 2-foot counter, so that's 18 feet. So if I click on this guy, and now it's not a stacked wall, I can change that to 18 feet. And that's the thickness I want my kitchen, to be. I can fit my kitchen in that size. So I know that. That's a big kitchen. It's a nice kitchen. It's got big, wide walkways, and it also has a nice island in the middle as well. So I'm not really sure where the end of that's going to be. In other words, I don't have my bubble diagram any longer here. So we're going to WT again so that I can see the bubble diagram over here. And I'm going to hit WT again because the biggest drawing I want to be my floor plan. So it just switches where where the windows are, which is pretty nice. All right, so you can see that I'm really not paying a whole lot of attention or concern with these guys right now. In terms of where they're located, look at that, the brick's on the wrong side here too. So I hit the space bar. And now I'll just clean this guy up a little bit, unjoin the elements. I don't know why I did that, but we cleaned it up again. Always a good idea to save your drawing from time to time. All right, so kitchen. Now I want a pantry in there. Let's make the pantry 8 feet deep. So I'm just going to copy this over here, put a dimension in, face to face, wall face to wall face. Click the modify button to get rid of any kind of command that was going on. We'll say it's 8 feet there. And then now I've got the space there for the pantry, the butler's pantry, which I'm assuming we're going to walk through, and the walk-in pantry where we just have shelves for all of our foodstuffs that don't need to be refrigerated. And now the next wall that I want to make is for the dining room. I want to have a dining room here, so I'll copy this guy. I'm going to click on him and just copy him over. And let's see, 14 feet's not bad for a dining room. All right, and so I will click on this guy, 14 feet. Okay, so I'm starting to lay it out. Now the great room, that's going to have an outside wall, so I'll grab this guy and use this mirror command, and I'll just do the imaginary line, and I've got it over there. And how wide would I like the, let's take a look at this. We're going to dimension from this face to this face, and 25 feet isn't bad. Maybe we should do a little bit less though. Let's make it 20 feet. It's going to be 20 feet wide. So I'm clicking the modify button just to clear out any kind of command that Revit thinks it was doing. Now again, it's a stacked wall, so I have to activate the dimensions, and I'm just going to change that to 20 feet. Okay, so now I started to get it laid out there. Oh, the lavatory and the laundry. Remember, I wanted, well, what do I have here for this distance? Let's take a look here. From this face, oh, look at that. These two guys are backwards too. I don't know what's going on here. But I flipped them around. It's not going to be 2 feet anymore there, but we'll come back and fix that later on. I just want to see what we have here. So I'm going to make that 20 feet for the family room. So that's a stacked wall. I have to come over here and click on this guy. Whoops, let's see, activate dimensions. Click on that. We'll make it 20 feet. 20 feet's a pretty good size. Now, the reason I wanted to get this laid out is because I want my hallway. Remember, I said I wanted these guys on an axis here. So I'll just say annotate, detail line. Let's see if I can snap to the midpoint. Just like with AutoCAD, we get the midpoint of that wall is a triangle. And I'll just draw this temporary line all the way across there. And now we want to put some of these 2x4 walls. So I'm just going to copy this guy down a little bit and rotate it. And let's say I want the hallway to be 6 feet wide. Okay, that means that this wall would have to be 3 feet off of the center line. And now I could take and mirror this guy. So now there's my hallway, which is 6 feet wide. 6 feet's a good, 6 feet is a good dimension for a hallway that is going to be as long as this guy is, and this guy is pretty long. But it's going to probably stop right here. So I'll use this is going to be the foyer, and then this is going to be the stairway. Okay, so there's my foyer and my stairs. I didn't put my office in. I haven't put the lavatory. So let's see. Right now you can see that connected to my cursor, or my mouse cursor, is a icon. It's telling me that I'm in the trim, extend, or fillet command. And that's why I'm going over here to modify. I just click on that real quick or hit escape. But I want to get rid of that because I want to be out. I want to be clear of any kind of command that's going on. All right, so we'll just copy this guy. Whoops, copy him down here. And again, I get that error message that these walls are on top of each other. Not too concerned about that right now. So let's see. How wide do we want the powder room to be? That's going to be huge. So let's say 8 feet for now. We can change that later. We're just laying things out. And now I can grab this guy, bring him straight down. And the next room is the laundry room. And I guess, you know, I probably don't want to go any farther than that. So I'll copy this guy straight down and just drag him down a little bit that way for now. So now I've got my lavatory. I'm also going to have a closet in the back too. You know, when you come in from the garage, you want to have some sort of a closet. Plus, we're going to probably end up walking in here. So, all right. But this is starting to take shape a little bit. You can see it's not bad. Okay. So I'll probably have a wall that comes down here too. So we're not going to have it wide open like that. So I'm going to grab this guy and just copy him over and see if I can line up the gypsum board with the gypsum board. It should line up right there. Yep, see, it does line up. Okay, so I'm going to come in from the garage, and then we'll have a powder room or a back hall lab and some sort of a closet space. And then we said this was going to be the laundry. And then this is going to be the office. So we'll copy that down to here. Again, it's giving me that error message, which I'm not too concerned about because I want to do that. And then this. Okay, so let's see, 14 feet, and that's probably, that's a decent size. All right, so now I need this wall. So I'll just mirror it. And somewhere down here, I'm going to have the outside of the house comes across here. Whoops, that is not good. I use that undo command, or we can use Control Z on the keyboard. Just drag it straight across right there. I don't need a really big foyer here, so I'm going to copy this guy, bring him back to here, drag him across to there. Okay, so somewhere this is my foyer, and then this is the midpoint of my stairs. Okay, so not bad to begin with here. This, copy this guy down because we don't need to be that far. And we'll drag across here and here. We'll drag this guy across to here. This is going to be an outside wall, so I'll drag him down to there. And, well, this is huge. I'm going to definitely drag it down some more because I don't need all of that space there. So we'll let the dining room be 20 feet as well for now, which means that I'll click on this wall, activate the dimensions, 20 feet. There we go. Now this is an outside wall, so I can mirror this guy. Might be able to, I'm just gonna see if I can pick that midpoint. It's probably not gonna be right where I want it. No, it isn't. So I want these walls to line up. So I'll pull this guy back up, and then I'll use this align tool. Click on the gypsum board here, click on the gypsum board there, and they line up. And then I'll use my trim extend to do that. I know this is going to be an outside wall too, so I can pull this guy back down to there, and I'll just take this guy and mirror him. And then I want to use the align tool, which is this guy, and just come over and align those two guys. Look at that. Look at that. Looks good. Okay, so this is going to be my butler's pantry. This is going to be my walk-in pantry. This is my dining room. And I definitely don't need the wall to be that far out. So we can just put it here for now, clean it up a little bit. And there's an exterior wall here, so I'm going to just see. I have you can see on the cursor is the extend trim. So it's expecting me to extend trim something. So if I hit the modify button, then it clears it out from any kind of command. And we'll unjoin those elements. That's fine. And I can pull this guy back to there. And now I need an exterior wall right there. I'll copy this guy from here to here. And it's giving me that error message. So I'll just drag it down and unjoin the elements, align here and here. And then we'll use the extend trim command to clean that up and to clean that up. And we'll unjoin those elements. And let's see if we can clean that up again. Yep, that looks good. Okay, this could come over just a little bit. Why is the brick? Look at the brick is on the on the inside of all of these. Now unjoin these elements. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that the brick was in the right spot, and it was basically not. Unjoin those elements. We'll use the extend trim again. The reason this is the outside of the garage. Look at the bricks on the wrong side here too. This is really different. All right, so now they don't line up anymore. So let's make sure that the gypsum board lines up. That looks good. Okay, on my garage, I'm going to put this same wall, this one right here. This is the wall between the garage and the house. I'll just copy that down a little bit and rotate it 90 degrees. And then I'm going to, I'll just drag it up and drag it down. And then I want to align my gypsum board again, here and here. Oops, that didn't work. Let's do it again. Align my gypsum board here and here. Okay. And let's see. That jog isn't necessarily bad. It could be okay. These two walls are exterior walls, so I'll align trim those. This guy, I'm going to just drag him back a little bit because that's a exterior wall. It should not be on the inside of the house. I'll fill it or trim extend these two guys now. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that looks good. And then let's use a different one, which is the align command again, right there. Okay, look at that, looking good. Save it. And it's not a bad start, but this is a good tutorial just to give you an idea on how to start out the floor plan. It didn't take that long in order to do that. Of course, you know, I've done it many times before. So this is where we'll stop. But now, you know, this is a good start and for me. And then I'll go back in and fine tune everything. You know, it never gets exactly right to begin with, but it's a good start. You know, I can see that this is probably going to be way too big. Bring it back down a little bit. So there we go. We have a 3-car garage. We have our family room. We'll have the back hall lav over here and maybe a closet. This is going to be the laundry room, which is huge. So I may end up you know, moving this wall over this way because I don't need you know, I'll come back in and pay attention to my dimensions later. But there's my office. There's my dining room, butler's pantry, walk-in pantry, kitchen, breakfast nook. So it looks like I have everything, except I'm not going to model the stairs yet until I really get this fine-tuned. But this is not a bad start for coming from the bubble diagram. And that was really just a exercise to show you how we start with a bubble diagram so that we have some sort of idea, and then we go into the actual laying out of the floor plan of the house. Now, if we look at this in 3D, look at what we have. We have the garage footing, the garage wall. If there's going to be a house above the garage, we've got the second floor there. And then we have, you know, all the way around the house. If I spin it around here, you know, look at how much I've already created in just a few moments, thanks to the power of Revit. And that's one thing I like to do is as I'm working, uh, as I start to work and lay things out, it's always nice to have one of the windows open in 3D, especially if you have multiple uh, displays, monitors, then you can drag that guy over to another monitor. And as you're developing your house, you can continue to keep it up like that. So this is what I would say would be a complex house. This is more than what you need to do in this class. But there are many students who, for some reason, disregard my suggestion about making a simple house, and they make some very complicated house, and it ends up making it very difficult for them to satisfy all of the requirements of the class because they have such a complex house that they need to work with. So try to keep it simple. Um, it's up to you. You're the architect. You can do whatever you want. In the content area on Blackboard is the rubric of all of the things when uh, on the last day of class, you'll be handing in your final project. We'll be progressing through and you'll be handing in your final project, and I will use the rubric that's created in Blackboard. You have a Word document of the rubric because I couldn't figure out a way to share the actual rubric with you. But you can see what I'll be looking for and the points that are assigned to each one. There's a total of 70 points for this project. So you get 14 weeks to put this all together. And then on the 15th week, we're going to redraw a house that's not this complicated, but you have 3 hours and 20 minutes to complete the house from scratch.